cover something real quick that you guys did in Algebra 1. And I know it's been a lot of time since you've been in Algebra 1, but this should be something that you guys really worked on. So hopefully all I'm doing right now is giving a reminder of what you worked on. Fair enough? Okay? If I give you this particular graph, can you find the equation of this line? What do you have to know in order to find the equation of this line?
Isn't it like y1, y2, x1, x2?
So you're telling me the equation for slope, right? That's good, okay? If you remember the equation of slope, that's good, all right? Some people don't remember the equation, but they remember how to find it because they've internalized it and given it meaning to themselves, and that's okay too, okay? I know the formula for slope because I've used it for 17 years now, okay? But I also hardly ever use it unless it like asks me to or whatever because I have internalized slope and what it means to me, so I can just find it by looking at the graph. I would like for you guys to maybe get to that point here, in here, okay? So if I give you 2 points and I don't want you to use the formula for slope, what do you think we should do? What do you mean? That's okay. It's all right. What you got? What were you going to say? Guess? Yes. So count. That's what you meant, right? Okay. So if I'm going to count, is he mean counting from here to here? No, because he also knows that slope is really the rise over the run, right? So he's going to count how far up he's going to go and how far to the right, in this case, he's going to go. If this point is 2, 6, how far am I going to go up? I'm going to go up 3 to get to the 9, right? That's my change in my y's, okay? So my rise is not 9, it's 3, okay? Then how far am I running to get from 2 to 5? What is 3 divided by 3? 1. So in this case, my slope is 1. What else do I have to know besides a slope to be able to write the equation of a line? The y-intercept, okay? Now, on a graph like this where you can tell it's obviously not to scale, we can't just go over here and count, can we? Okay? So we need to do what? What do we need to do? What do you think? We need to do math. Excellent. Excellent. We're going to do math. Okay? We're going to use this equation. Have you ever seen this equation before? Thank you for reading it for me. Have you ever seen it before?
Yes.
Okay. A student in my earlier class said that he knows a song about that formula. And I was like, that's probably like a really, really short song. Like, wasn't it supposed to be done? And he was like, that's not how it goes. But he wouldn't sing it to me either. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not pressuring him. Okay? But here's the formula we need to use, right? Y equals mx plus b. What do we know already? What did we just find? We just found the slope, which is represented by which letter? M. What are we trying to find? The b. So I need to leave the b there. Well, what's left here? The x and the y. Do I know an x and a y?
5 and 6.
You want to use 5 and 6?
Or 5 and 9.
Which one would be better?
5.
5 and 9? Am I allowed to use 5 and 6? Absolutely not. No. I have to use a point that is together as a point, right? Yes, I know, I agree with you that this value is an x value and this is a y value, but that's not going to make any sense unless I use it with the one that it's with, okay? I can use the 5 and 9, absolutely. Could I also use the 2 and the 6? Would I get a different answer if I use the 2 and the 6?
No.
I won't, right? I shouldn't, okay? If you'd like me to show that to you, I will. I will be happy to. Oh, that would be great, okay? So let's use the 2 and the 6 first, okay? So the 2 is which value? The x value. So let's say times 2, and the 6 is the y value. So 6 equals 2 plus b. Well, if I'm solving for b, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides to say b equals 4. Right? However, I don't want him to think that I ignored what he asked me to do. Let's say y equals mx plus b, and I know my slope is m, so I know my m is 1. But this time I'm going to use the 5 and the 9. So my x is my 5, and my y is my 9. So 9 equals 1 times 5 plus b. What is 1 times 5? 9 equals 5 plus b. By subtracting 4 from both sides, 5 from both sides, b equals, oh my goodness. Would you look at that? Okay? Look at it. They're the same. So you can use either point. It doesn't matter. All right? To be honest, I would have chosen the 2 and the 6. Do you know why?
Because they're even.
Because they're smaller. That's the only reason, because they're smaller. Okay? So now that I know what b is, do I have enough information to write an equation? What do I need to write an equation? Y equals mx plus b is the formula that I'm using, right? What do I need to fill out this equation? Yeah, the m and the b. Do I know the m and the b? The slope and the intercept? So y equals 1x plus 4. Yeah, you know what this crazy kid earlier said? He said, wait, I wrote this, x plus 4. What did I say? I said, good. It's the same thing, isn't it? Am I allowed to write the 1 if I want to? Absolutely, right? Especially for visual people, if they need to see the something in front of the x, you can go ahead and write that 1, but it's not required at all. Does that make any sense? Any questions about that? So on your homework tonight, you're going to be asked to do this, okay, on some of the graphs that are in your book. The other thing you're going to be asked to do is interpret the slope. So let's say that we have a graph that looks like this, and it says number of payments and the balance, which is a money value, okay? Number of payments and the balance. If I'm interpreting what's going on with this line, I can actually say it about 54 different ways. I'm not going to say it all 54 ways for you. I'm going to say it one way. But I think you're going to see what I'm talking about, okay? Excuse me. I could say, as the number of payments increase, what's happening? Absolutely, the balance is decreasing, okay? As the next payment is decreasing, as the next payment happens, as I pay another payment, my balance is decreasing. Well, there I did what I said I wasn't going to do. I've already said it 2 different ways, haven't I? Okay? So here's the deal. If you go to check your answers in the back of the book, which is why I sometimes give you the odd ones so that you can go check your answers in the back of the book, this is one of those situations that some of you don't like, because your answer may or may not match exactly with the answer in the back of the book, but your answer can still be right. Okay? I just interpreted this line in 2 different ways, said 2 different groups of words is what I should say, but they meant the same thing. Does that make sense? So I think that don't always just change your answer to what's in the back of the book, because your words matter. Okay? You got to give value to your own words, the way you choose to phrase things. And as long as it means the same thing, then it's right. Okay? So I'm going to show you one of the problems that you may have to do. Well, you're going to have to do for homework. Look at number 3 right here. Okay? Problem number 3. First of all, what's my y-intercept? 0. Do I have to do all that stuff we did a minute ago to find b? No, I just have to figure out the slope, don't I? Just have to count the slope. What's my rise? 2, and what's my run? If I go from 0 to 10, so it would be 10, right? Rise 2, run 10, what's my slope? Maybe 2 over 10, or I could simplify that to what? 1 over 5. Very good. Okay? So, but what my y-intercept y-intercept is 0, so I could write y equals 1/5 x plus 0, or I could just write y equals 1/5 x. Does that make sense? But let's interpret this. Interpret the meaning of this line, of what's going on right here. What do you think we could say? You give a percentage of that, right? You give a percentage as a tip to your server for however much you paid for your meal, okay? So we could say, as the cost of my meal gets more expensive, I should leave a higher tip. That's one way to say that. I could say, as the cost of my meal increases, the price of my tip should increase. Were those exactly the same? No, but they mean the same thing, don't they? I'm getting the same point across. Okay? Questions about that? Yes, that is a sentence. Yes with a capital letter, yes with punctuation at the end, right? I would like a sentence for your interpretation on these. Okay? So that's 3 through 8. That's the kind of thing I want you to do for 3 through 8. Find the equation of the line and then interpret what's going on in the graph for me. Okay? 11 and 12, I've already heard from several of you that you do not like these. I care about you very much, but I don't care that you don't like these. Okay? Because here's the deal. If you can look at somebody else's work and figure out where they're wrong, it means you know it. Okay? You at least have some clue about what's going on if you can figure out what's wrong. Alright? So, I'm not trying to be rude, but you need to kind of get used to these because they're all throughout the book. Right? They're good for you. You may not like them, but they're good for you, like broccoli. Right? Spinach. Things like that. Okay? Now, the last part of your assignment is 14 through 16. Okay? And here's what I'm going to tell you about 14 through 16, and I don't want you to think I'm evil, because for the most part I'm not. I'm not going to give you any instruction on it. This is definitely something that you did in Algebra 1. Okay? Read the directions, attempt 14 through 16. I'm not going to give you any instruction on it. I want to see what you remember. Okay? So what do I expect from you on 14 through 16? Attempts. Absolutely. I expect you to attempt them. Okay? If you attempt them, what's going to happen? You're going to get credit for it, aren't you? Okay? I expect your attempt. You leave it blank, I'm counting it wrong. I expect you to attempt them. When you attempt them, then you will receive credit for these problems. I promise you on Monday, we will go over these problems, but I've got to see what you remember. And instead of giving you a quiz or a test, I'm just going to give you 3 homework problems that I'm not giving you instruction on. Fair enough? Okay? So you have now the rest of the period to work on this. Get as much done as you can before the bell rings so that you have as little as possible homework tonight. Okay? Are there any questions? Anyone?